it's a big Can-Am reunion, and people from Can-Am Factory going to be there. Yeah, maybe Jeff Smith. They want to get Gary Jones and Marty Tripes, a couple other guys. Anybody who rode Can-Ams. But I don't know about it just yet. I've got to get in touch with them with a package to let them know what it's going to cost. I'll let you know. Don't you want to go to Canada, eh? Okay. Nope, Jeff Pike's Honda is almost done. I'm waiting for a chain. I've got to put the tank on and the seat. That's it. I'll have pictures of it probably by Friday. No, Vidco helped me out with parts. A lot of the sponsors did. Thanksgiving next week. Yeah, I'm going to do a show next Wednesday. The family will be here. It'll be great. I'll have them all on. Okay, 3 seconds. I got to do this job. I love you.
You're live.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Hey, Jordan? Jordan, live as in the show's going, or I've got a minute to go?
We're live.
Oh, we're live. Welcome to Vintage Motocross Q&A. I'm your host, Joe Abadi. A little confusion there on the set. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Jordan, Chelsea, and Susie, for helping me put the show together. Thank you, the viewers at home who tune in and watch the show every week. It's good to be back live. I'm going to tell you about what's going on the show right about now when Jordan changes the slide, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what's coming up. Jordan,
What do you see?
Excuse me?
What do you see?
I don't see anything. I see myself on the screen.
Pin me.
Pin you. I apologize to the people at home who are watching this. Okay. Hang on, Jordan. I almost got it. Okay, here we go. In the next time, try this segment. We've got something really great. It's going to tell you about how to lubricate some parts of your brakes. You got to be careful with it. I'll tell you more about that in just a bit. In the Moto Showcase tonight, we take a look at a 1973 Honda CR250 from our friend Bill Naselrod out in Maryland when I was out there a couple of weeks ago. Well, where do you see this video? It's really good. Here's the problem. We've got some questions. We've got some answers. One of them pertains to polishing plastic, and we've got a whole lot more. What's it worth? 1971 Yamaha RT360. Recently sold in Southern California. Beautiful bike. We'll have that coming. We got all that and a whole lot more coming up on Vintage Motocross Q&A with no more bloopers. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Vintage Motocross Q&A. I am your host, Joe Abadi. Thank you, Jordan, Chelsea, and Susie for helping me put the show together tonight. And thank you, the viewers at home who have joined me here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. Keep sharing the show. We have a random share giveaway winner a little bit later on. They're going to get a nice sticker sheet just like this, compliments of Vinco. If you're watching on YouTube, comment Motion Pro. Our YouTube channel is going pretty well, but we could always use some more subscribers. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see the show live here when we do it every Wednesday. You can also see all the recorded shows. So please subscribe. You'll get a little alert just like this when we're live, and you can watch the show on YouTube. How are the experts watching the show? How are the pros watching it? They are watching it from their couch. They comment from their phone. So sit back on your couch, tune into us either on YouTube or Facebook from your big screen TV, and you'll be able to really enjoy the show a whole lot better like that. Hey, don't forget to keep sending in your questions and comments to the show. I really, really need questions. This week was really a struggle for us to get the show together. Not really a struggle to put the show together, but to get some questions to get people involved with the program. So please text us, message us. There's 1,000 different ways to get a hold of us. Send us your questions, your comments, your Moto Showcase bikes, whatever. Get them over to me so we can get them on the show. Make my life a little bit easier, gives you a better program. I want to thank our sponsors, Motion Pro, Racer X, Vinco, Preston Petty Products, Full Circle Racing, Northwest Mako CZ, and of course, Sunrise Vapor Blasting.
In the next time, try this segment tonight, I want to talk to you about lubricating the cams on your brake shoes and on your brake backing plate. It looks like this when it's apart. This little cam in here spins around. It, of course, raises your brake shoe. That's how you get stopping power on your bike. When it's all together, it looks just like this. Now, here's what's important. You want to make sure that you get a little grease on the flat spots of that cam, as well as on the points of your brake shoes that move inside that backing plate. Dust gets in there, water gets in there. You want to have the proper lubrication to make sure that your brakes work smoothly. Here's an important thing though. All greases are not created equal. They come in different viscosities, just like oil does. You want to make sure you get the right viscosity grease to put inside of that brake backing plate. If you get something that's too thick, it's not going to move around in there and lubricate the cam and the edges or points of that brake shoe. If you get something too thin, when that brake gets hot, it's going to start to drip and it's going to get all over your brake shoes, and then you're going to have a bigger problem than that. So make sure you get the right grease for the job. Lubricate at the points that I discussed with you on the flat spots of that cam on your brake shoes, and you'll keep everything moving really, really well inside your brake drums of your vintage bike. Next time, try that.
The next time, try this segment is, of course, brought to you by Vinco. And Vinco's special this week are reed valves for the YZ490, 84 through 90, and the WR500 as well. Worn reeds can cause a problem with starting. They can also ruin your day of riding. When you get these reeds from Vinco, they are made right here in America. They will exceed OEM equipment. It comes with the reed valve. It gives you improved starting, improved durability over stock, and overall, it's just a really, really great improvement if you have a YZ with a reed valve. So get a hold of Vinco for just $43.95. You'll keep the ride going with those reed valves. In the Moto Showcase tonight, which is brought to you by Preston Petty, we've got something special for you. A video I made with Bill Nazarod when I was out at the Broom Factory a couple of weeks ago. And this is a really special bike. So let's take a look at the video. Jordan?
Bill Nazarod, you put an amazing event together at the Broom Factory. Everyone's enjoying it, or they will enjoy it.
Right.
The people that were here today before the event started just can't believe what's been put together here by you and Mike Slate and all the people. Of all the bikes that I've seen here, and I've seen a lot, your Honda Elsinore absolutely is the nicest one I've ever seen, and I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about it.
Okay, sure thing.
You can tell me about when you got it, how you purchased it, and some other things. So let's start with number one. How long have you owned this bike?
I've owned this bike approximately 30 years. It came out of Georgia. Very little use at the time, but there was some things that were damaged.
Mm-hmm.
So the engine was in superb condition. The frame was fabulous. So with everything being as nice as it was, I started seeking out the best parts
Sure.
that I could possibly find for it.
Now, I'm in the restoration business. A lot of other people are as well. Of course, the definition of restoration is to return something to the way it was originally, but You have gone one step further, and many of the parts on this bike are new old stock NOS, as they say.
Right.
Tell me about some of the NOS parts that are on this bike.
Oh wow, the tank, the pipe, the wheels, the handlebars. There's so much. The shocks. Just, if I couldn't find NOS, I would try to find the best used part that I could find.
It doesn't
The
appear that
very
there are
best.
any used parts on this
Well,
bike, though.
not many. You might want to mention the seat.
Okay.
That's used.
Sure.
But it's been. I picked the best pan that I had it recovered, new foam.
Now, all those parts, while the price comes with them, there's got to be a lot of time on your part to track those parts down. How long did it take you?
I guess I started collecting parts probably 30 years ago. I was racing the Army Nationals, and I rode the Hondas, and I wanted to be able to repair a bike if I broke it and get to the next race. So I just started going to some of the old dealers that were in the area. When we traveled, I'd look in the phone book to see what dealers were in the area. If we were going past, I'd stop. I always had a want list of parts that I wanted. I got lucky a lot. They still had the stuff on the shelf.
Now, you had another little system that I wanted you to share with the viewers at home, and it has to do with a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Correct.
What did you do with that?
Well, I had a buddy that got a nationwide Honda dealer list. And I started looking at all the old dealers, and this was before the internet, and I was able to figure out some that were still in business. So I would send them my want list and a self-addressed stamped envelope along with it. And that way the parts guy would say, okay, well, he's got a stamp on there, and if we have something, I'll send it back. Sure enough, I found parts that way. This was all before the internet.
Unbelievable. Bill Nazarod, thank you for taking the time to speak to me. The bike is absolutely incredible, and the event that you and Mike Slade have put on, we're all looking forward to it taking off tomorrow. So, Bill Nazarod,
Thank you,
thanks
Joe.
so much.
Glad you could attend with us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Bike was absolutely incredible. And that segment is, of course, brought to you by Pest and Pretty Products. This week, they have a number plate fender combination, just $122.95. They show it here in white, but Paul's got some specials in other colors too: blue, orange, red, all the popular Preston Petty colors. And by the way, Preston Petty is looking for dealers. Get a hold of Paul Stannard, not distributors. They're looking for dealers in America. So if you have a retail outlet, or however you get in touch with the people to sell in a retail environment, get a hold of Paul Stannard. They are looking for dealers. Thank you, Paul Stannard, for all you do here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Here's the problem. Jordan, what do we have up first? I'm thinking about refinishing. This is from Dave Malone. I'm thinking about refinishing my rims, and I'm considering powder coating them. Any thoughts on that? I have heard guys doing this, Dave, and my theory or feelings on it are this. If you're going to take a complete wheel apart, take the spokes out, refinish the hubs, why wouldn't you just get them anodized? I don't think there's going to be a huge cost difference between anodizing and powder coating them. I think you're going to be a whole lot happier if you do get them anodized. Powder coating does look nice, and I understand it's pretty durable when you replace it or when you use it as a replacement for paint. But I don't know if it's such a good idea when you're going to use it as a replacement for anodizing. And I'll tell you why, and the biggest reason is you are going to ride the bike. If you go to scratch one, if you do scratch one of those rims, or you do get a gouge with a rock, yeah. If it happens on anodizing, well, you're going to have a scratch. That's all you're going to have. If you do it on powder coating, you're going to wind up with a wheel that looks similar to this car wheel. And I've seen it happen on motorcycle wheels as well, to where it starts to chip off more and more, and you can't really do anything to remedy that problem. You can live with a scratch, you can live with a gouge, but I don't know if anybody's going to be able to live with powder coating chipping away continuously on a wheel like that. So if you're going the distance and you're going to take that whole wheel apart, get it anodized. I think you'll be a whole lot happier. That's just my opinion. Jeff Kokoski, when will you do a segment on sanding plastic? It sure would be a big help to many people. Yeah, Jeff, it would be. And on one of the future episodes, I am going to do it. A little bit of a drawback we have is that when I work here in the shop by myself and I go to sand the plastic, it takes quite a bit of time to do. And I only have kind of like one camera angle. Otherwise, Jordan's got all kinds of time in as far as editing. And as many of you out there may know, if you polish plastic, it's not a 2-minute or 3-minute segment. Yes, I can make it one, but by the time you really have to take the plastic down from, let's say, 400 to 600, 800, all the way up to maybe 1500 or 2000, and then buff that plastic, it can really turn into a show in and of itself, all on its own. But Jeff, you have asked me about it a few times, and what I'm going to do in the next few weeks is I'll get a selection of sandpaper together, a nice fender that I can kind of give you an idea of what to expect when you go to sand some plastic. So Jeff, thanks for the question. Thanks for pushing me to do it. And you will see it here on the show in the not too distant future. Mike Skelly, I've tried 2 paint removers, which claim to lift the paint within 15 minutes, and neither of them worked. Is there something I'm missing? Can you suggest something? Yeah, I can tell you something. I can tell you that all paint removers these days suck. And the reason they do is because they have a non-methylene chloride formula. They all put that on here now, non-methylene chloride formula, as if it is something that's wonderful. It's not. It's horrible. And if you can find paint remover that does have methylene chloride in it, you should buy it. A lot of states do not have it on the shelves anymore. California, no big surprise there. Utah, Maryland, Delaware, Colorado, and a couple of more. So if you're not in any of those states, you need to look for some paint remover that does contain methylene chloride. If you don't, you're never going to get rims clean like that. Whether it's hubs, whether it's side covers for your engine, or whatever it may be, you're probably looking more toward either glass beading or vapor blasting. And I'm just as upset over it as you are, because there's been a lot of times where I'm in the shop and I'll take something, throw some paint stripper on it, walk away, go do something else, come and clean it off with some steel wool. Then the next thing you know, it just takes a couple of minutes in the bead blaster or on the vapor blaster, and you're really, really done with it. But not so much anymore. That act started about 2016 or so, where they wanted to end the methachloride in the paint remover, and they've done that, and now it's not so good anymore. And that's why your paint thinner or your paint remover is not working so well. You have to look for an alternative method.
Hi, you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
We gotta pay, Rick. We gotta
after this
pay.
prayer.
Hi, Jeff here, introducing you to Motion Pro's magnetic pickup tool today. Now, we've all had that bad experience where we drop a loose part or fastener into a hard to reach place like a skid plate or belly pan. Well, this is the right tool for the job that will retrieve that stubborn part and get you back to working on your ride. As for the features of the magnetic pickup tool, first you have this billet aluminum handle. There's a low profile magnetic tip that's extremely strong and in fact will even pick up a Motion Pro T handle. This flexible shaft can get into hard to reach places, and with its protective coating won't damage the finish on your motorcycle. The magnetic pickup tool is affordably priced at $14.99 and is available from your favorite power sports dealer nationwide. So avoid future frustration and pick one up for yourself today.
With a great product from Motion Pro tonight in the What's It Worth segment, we have a 1971 Yamaha RT360. This is, of course, the portion of the show where we encourage you to type in what you think this bike recently sold for. I will give you a couple of clues. It sold on October 24th in Southern California. I'll read to you the description of the bike while Jordan goes through the slides. Really nice piece. Beautifully restored, numbers matching 1971 RT1 Yamaha Enduro for sale. This bike was restored at AMC Motorsports in Southern California in 2019. As you can see from the photos, the bike is in beautiful condition. The engine runs healthy, typically starts within a few kicks. If the bike is not ridden for some time, it may take 3 or 4 kicks to get it going, but that's just typical for a bike that sits around and gets cold and is a bit of an older bike. The 2-stroke oil injection system works as it should. It runs and drives great. Everything functions properly, including all the lights and gauges. After the restoration, I added the mirrors. They have not been re-chromed or polished. I commissioned someone to have this bike restored, and I have no idea really what was original or what was NOS when the bike was done. To the best of my knowledge, most of the bike is original, and everything has been repainted, polished, or re-chromed. However, the gauges look new, and the seat looks like a reproduction. I believe the cables have all been replaced with new ones, as well as the tires. I believe the petcock is new as well. The engine is original to the frame. It is a matching numbers bike, and the seller does claim to have the California title. Well, there you go. It does look like a really nice bike in the picture. What do you think it sold for? $7,000? $9,000. The actual price this bike sold for was $7,995. 1971 or those RTs and DTs from the late 60s, early 70s are commanding some really, really good money, especially when they're restored to this level. So there you have it, $79.95. Did you get it without going over? What do we got up next, Jordan? Oh, Full Circle Racing, my good friend Tom McAllister. He's got a whole new shipment of wheels up there, and he's still doing the special for us with their powder coating hubs for just 50 bucks. 10 bucks more if you want the backing plate done as well. Tom will handle the whole thing for you. He'll bead blast them, powder coat them in black or satin black. If you want a custom color, it's a couple of bucks more. But get a hold of Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing. I want to thank Tom McAllister for his support here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Have you ever heard of a Sachs? I bet you have. We've all heard of Sachs motorcycles, but I bet you've never heard of a Sachs Nauter. This is a Sachs Nauter 125. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Sachs company, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this bike. This is another one from the Broom Factory down there in Maryland. The company was established, Sachs, now marked by Carl Marschall's April 5th, 1886 in Nuremberg. Hercules Work is what it was called. Initially, it manufactured bicycles, and it led up to 170 employees. By 1984, it was building over 5,000 bicycles a year. The moped motors continued to be used by many brands in the 1990s, and small capacity motorcycle engines up to 175 cc's. Now, after facing a series of problems stemming from pensions issued from the Hercules factory, they wound up being in insolvency, and they just about had to sell everything out. Sachs had quite a presence in the motocross industry from 1960 to 1970, as you know. When Sachs was about to end its motocross involvement, a company known as Nauder, N-A-U-D-E-R, they were the French importer for Sachs, bought up all the remaining engines and frames, and they began producing the Sachs Nauder, which is this bike right here. The logo looks like VSN, but it's actually a stylish triangle followed by an SN. They had a couple of different models, including an 81 125 MX and 82 250. They also had an Enduro model. They had a dual rear shock that so many people wondering what they were. It could be shocks that were possibly produced by a company called Fornalis. Anyway, there are very, very few of these bikes produced, and this 125 is owned by Scott Federhoff from Maryland. It's believed to be the only 1982 125 Sachs Nauder in the United States of America. It was on display at the Broom Factory, and I want to thank Scott for suggesting that we use it on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Scott did find this bike in a state of disarray. Disrepair is what I should say. He did restore it, did an absolutely impeccable job, and it is, I believe, after doing some research on my own, I think it's the only one in the United States of America. Another good reason to get down to the Broom Factory. Go see this bike. Thanks, Scott Federoff. Sunrise Vapor Blasting. I can't say enough great things about Sunrise Vapor Blasting. I sent them a lot of parts. I see they're doing parts for motorcycles, planes, boats, cars, you name it. So if you've got something that's really delicate in nature, you don't want to ruin the profile of the metal, you get a hold of Sunrise Vapor Blasting. They'll get it in that machine. Mark Farriester is absolutely an expert at this, and you'll get back something that has a beautiful finish, probably nicer than new, without changing the profile of the metal. And if there's a combination of metals in there, be it copper, brass, or something that's pressed into a piece of aluminum, you don't have to worry about it. Mark Farriester is going to take care of it at Sunrise Vapor Blasting in beautiful downtown Modesto, California. Thank Mark Farriester for all you do for us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We're going to take a commercial break. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. When we get back, we will have tonight's random shared giveaway winner of this beautiful sticker sheet, compliments of Vitco. Keep the ride going. We'll be right back.
Classic and vintage dirt bikes are more than a hobby. It's not just about the ride. It's about the work that goes in. The work that keeps you connected to the ride. It's about bringing the bike back to life and doing it with your own hands. It's about the adrenaline and adventure. And when it comes to putting all the pieces together, only Vinco knows the bikes and parts the way you do. Vinco, keep the ride going.
Okay, Jordan, are we ready to do the random share giveaway winner? I think we are, because we said we were going to do it when we got back from commercial. Tonight's random share giveaway winner is Mike Robinson. Mike Robinson, if you're watching the show or someone knows Mike Robinson, let him know that he has won this beautiful sticker sheet, compliments of Vintco. Mike Robinson. Get a hold of me. Give me your address. I'll ship them right out to you. Well, what's up next, Jordan? Oh, This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by Racer X Magazine, available on your newsstand now and also available online. Racer X, the finest publication in motocross. Check them out. And check out our ad in the back of every issue of Racer X. 1970, I believe, is the first year. Preston at Hopetown. Good old Preston Petty, still kicking out there down in Texas. The Dirt Diggers held their 12th annual Hopetown Grand Prix and the 5th annual International Motocross, and the big winner was Preston Petty, who won the 500cc class. It was an exhibition race, and he beat Russ Bell, Briar Holcomb, and Billy Clements that day. Preston Petty back in 1970. Dirt Diggers. They got started in the South. We all know about Dirt Diggers North, but the original Dirt Diggers was down in the South, and that's a little bit of motor history for you as well. Next up, 1976. This is very, very interesting. The ad for this event had a very, very provocative line. It said, more foreign international caliber riders than the U.S. Grand Prix or your money back. Now, this was in reference to the U.S. 500cc GP that was held earlier that year at Carlsbad. And there were a lot of foreign riders there. Roger DeCosta was there, Garrett Wilson, Adolf Wild, Graham Noyce, Herbert Schmitz, Pierre Karsmakers, Jake Van Veldhoven, Ake Janssen, Bink Aberg, Willie Bauer, and Vic Allen, just to name a few. However, this was a Trans Am, and it was Brad Lackey who was the winner of that race. DeCosta clinched a third straight Trans Am title that day, but it was Brad Lackey who won at Saddleback at the Trans Am. The 250 support class race was won by future FIM world champion Danny Laporte. In second place was Danny Chandler. I'm sorry. No. Warren Reed finished second. Not Danny Chandler. I'm sorry. I got Danny Laporte, Danny Chandler a little bit mixed up. Danny Laporte won the race. My friend Warren Reed finished second. That's what happened in 1976. In 1988, remember this ad? Fox Racing ran their controversial Thinker advertisement in Cycle News featuring AMA Supercross champion Ricky Johnson wearing only their new race boots, sitting in the same position as Rodin's The Thinker sculpture. The whole concept, part of MX advertising history now, was Pete Fox's idea and set the Moto magazine and aftermarket riding industry abuzz. Ricky Johnson, au naturel, in the Rodin position. That was in 1988. And that's it in motocross history. Let's get to the announcements. I'll tell you what's going on around the world. LTV. Yep, we are on television with 2 channels out in Long Island, out in the Hamptons. A really great place to be on TV. Our shows are on Eastern time out there, of course. Tuesdays at 7:30, Wednesdays at 11:30 p.m., Thursdays at 5:30, Sunday at 9 p.m. So you'll be able to see this show again if you're out in the Hamptons. And I think it's on channel 22 and channel 23. Vintage Motocross Radio will be coming back in the very, very near future. In the meantime, there are over 50 interviews at Vintage Motocross Radio, from Preston Petty to Garrett Wolsink, Brad Lackey, Rodney Smith, and so many more. Tommy Croft, there's over 50 of them. Get over there. You could also listen on podcast. You don't have to be on Facebook or you're on YouTube. We're on several different podcast channels, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Breaker, and a couple of more. Got a great event coming up in the Northeast, and you've been hearing me, well, you only heard me talk about it last week a little bit. I have the flyer up here behind me. It's the Northeast, I'm sorry. Boy, tonight is one of those nights. We have the Northeast Racers Reunion. This is at the New England Motorcycle Museum. This is Ken Kaplan's gig up there in Connecticut. And that's happening Saturday, November 20th from 6 to 10 p.m. It's bring your own beer, bring your own food, but he's got a lot of great giveaways, including giving away a motorcycle. So if you want to support the New England Motorcycle Museum, get up there on Saturday between 6 and 10 p.m. They've got a raffle. Tickets are only $10. Thanks, Ken Kaplan, for all you do. This is what I was talking about. I talked about it last week a little bit. I've got the flyer behind me. The York Swap Meet. This is coming up January 23rd. That's a Sunday, January 23rd. Now, the night before, there is the banquet for the Potomac Vintage Rider. So if you want to go to the banquet the night before, I think it's about $60, plenty of food and a lot of fun. And the next day, a great time at the York Swap Meet. Get there early for the best deal. There's a bike show, there's a bike corral for show bikes, and there's always a lot of good stuff for sale. I'm looking forward to being there. And I heard that I might be a judge of the show, but I'll be there one way or the other. Looking forward to seeing a lot of my friends back there in the Northeast. York Swap Meet coming up. Put it on your calendar. All through October, we had people randomly joining our YouTube page. And I said, whoever did that, there would be a random share giveaway. And we were giving away a copy of Racer X and a subscription to Racer X and a subscription to VMX Magazine. Well, we got the winner for the VMX, but we don't have a winner for Racer X. I'm sorry, Jeff Bennett. Jeff Bennett, you haven't contacted me. I've had it on the show for 2 weeks now. You haven't contacted me. So you are the winner. You are the random share giveaway winner of that subscription, but you need to get a hold of me. And for all of you out there who want to still subscribe to the YouTube channel, if Jeff doesn't get a hold of me, I'm going to pick another winner next week. So Jeff Bennett, if you're listening to me tonight, get a hold of me. You want a subscription. If you are not listening to me, that means you're not going to hear this, and somebody else is going to win it next week. And that's just the way I roll. The finish line brought to you by Northwest Mako CZ. This week's special at Northwest Mako CZ is a clutch tool. You can't get the clutch out of your Mako without one of these. It's only $25. Get a hold of Alan Brown. Go over to their website. It's loaded with stuff, not only for Makos, but for CZs too, and some other universal things you might find very, very valuable for your bike. $25. Clutch removal tool for your CZ. Vintage Motocross Q&A t-shirts and hoodies are still available, just $19.99. They come in gray and white. They've got the logo across the front. They've got the logo across the back and also my autograph. Winter's here. Good time to get a hoodie as well. Follow the link in the show description and get yours today. Makes a great Christmas gift. I might even have a couple on hand at the York Swap Meet to sell. But get them now. Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsorship opportunities are still available. Get a hold of me for a sponsorship proposal package. We'll put something together that fits your budget, and you can be seeing all the benefits that all the other sponsors are seeing. We're reaching a lot of people between Facebook, YouTube, and now on the television stations out there on Long Island. So more and more people are watching, more and more people are being reached. It's a great time to become a sponsor of the show. I think that wraps it up for this night's edition for Vintage Motocross Q&A. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Don't forget, we will be on next Wednesday. It is the night before Thanksgiving. I'm really looking forward to having my whole family here on the set. They're all flying in for an event next Wednesday, and they'll all be here, and I'm going to have them on the show. At the end, you'll see them all. I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you all, and early happy Thanksgiving to you. And Gino! I'm trying to get him in here. Rocco, come on, Gino. Come on, boy. There he goes. There he goes. Good job. Rocco, I don't think Rocco, maybe you got to be persuaded a little bit. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.